A big thank you to the leadership students at Stevens Middle School. We'll have more with them a little bit later. Welcome to our latest episode of PSD-TV. It's our monthly online program that showcases the great things happening in the Pasco School District and celebrates some of the outstanding students, teachers, and staff members here in Pasco Schools. Well, February has been a very busy month around the district. It started with Superintendent Michelle Whitney's first ever State of the District luncheon, where she shared her vision for the district's future with Pasco's business and community leaders. Mrs. Whitney also focused on the 5 outrageous outcomes recently approved by the school board. They're a set of goals the district is striving to achieve. They include 100% of all 3rd graders reading on grade level in their language of instruction. Also 100% of students passing algebra by the end of 9th grade. 100% of students engaged in extracurricular activities. 100% of 9th graders ending the school year on track for graduation. And 100% of students graduating with a career path.
What we're looking for in this organization is people who believe that all kids can be successful, no exceptions. Or people who want to believe that and just aren't sure how to make it happen. If you want to, or you already do, Pasco's the place for you and we can make it happen together.
More than 24 business and community members attended that luncheon. Well, it's time to celebrate some of the great teachers and students who make Pasco Schools a great place to learn. Teachers like Chess Elementary bilingual teacher and instructional coach Alicia Barber, who was treated to flowers, a video tribute, and quite a surprise on the morning of February 8th. Superintendent Michelle Whitney stopped by the school's staff meeting before school to announce that Barber will be honored on March 9th as a 2017 Crystal Apple Award for Excellence in Education winner. Now, Barber began teaching in Pasco in 1995 in the bilingual program at Markham Elementary. Over the years, she has taught kindergarten, 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 5th grades at Captain Gray, Frost, and Chess Elementaries.
I think overall it's just like this huge honor. I've always been amazed at the people I've known that have won the Crystal Apple Award, so it feels special to be considered among the same crowd. So I'm just honored.
She makes connections with students and their parents, and she makes the learning fun in her classroom. She does a lot of singing, dancing. She lets students explore. She meets the needs of the students and supports them throughout their learning.
I was immediately inspired by how captivating she was to her students, how engaged she was. She's been GLAD trained and was a GLAD trainer, so she's incredibly knowledgeable in all those areas. And through those 5 years of working with her, I've really become close with her, and she's one of my closest friends, and really kind of almost like a role model for a teacher that I would want to be like.
Since the program began in 1999, 210 outstanding teachers in our area have been recognized. Crystal Apple winners receive a $1,000 check, a beautiful glass crystal apple, and several gift certificates from local businesses. Congratulations to Mrs. Barber. Well, a big bulldog salute to Pasco High freshman Isaiah Gonzalez. Gonzalez captured the 4A state championship in the 113-pound weight class at the state wrestling tournament in Tacoma. Gonzalez outscored his opponents 24-0 at the 2017 MAC Classic in the Tacoma Dome. He defeated Tahoma's Austin Mikelski in the championship match to claim that state title. Well, speaking of students who are doing great things, the web crew at McLaughlin Middle School is doing their part to help make our community a better place. Earlier this month, web crew students decorated dozens of duffel bags that were then stuffed with blankets, toiletry items, coloring books, and stuffed animals. The group is working with the nonprofit Together We Rise to deliver the bags to foster children in our area who often get moved from one home to another on very short notice.
So instead of using a couple of garbage bags to pack up their stuff when they do need to go, now they're getting these wonderful bags that our kids have decorated, and they're filling them with teddy bears and blankets and coloring books for Together We Rise.
The web crew is made up of about 60 kids at McLaughlin. Some of their other service projects in the past have included making peanut butter and jelly sandwiches for the homeless and collecting food for our local food banks. Well, speaking of McLaughlin, the students there were treated to a special guest on February 17th. Author Ian Desher, the New York Times best-selling author who's written the Shakespeare's Star Wars series, shared some of his insights with students during an all-school assembly. Desher says he's been a Star Wars fan since before he can remember, and he fell in love with Shakespeare while in high school. He says his books are a great way to introduce kids to Shakespeare in a setting that's familiar to them.
My main purpose with these books is to just let people laugh and have a good time, hopefully. But the sort of secondary purpose in there is like, if my books could help kids get interested in Shakespeare even a little bit, or if the books can be sort of a bridge into Shakespeare for them, then that's like, huge dream accomplished.
Sticking with that theater theme, the Chiawana Stage Company is gearing up for their production of The Hobbit. The classic children's novel by J.R.R. Tolkien has spawned several movies on the big screen, but audience members will enjoy the intimate setting of Chiawana's Black Box Theater as they are transported through the adventures of Bilbo Baggins. For Chiawana senior Ali Gokus, it's the culmination of 4 busy years of high school theater.
We have a ton of new kids this year that have come in, and as a senior, it's really great to have new faces that are going to replace all of us when we come into the program next year. It's been a difficult time, especially with all the cancellations and all that stuff, getting the show together, but since everybody worked so hard and has given so much of themselves, we've created a show that I'm really excited to open the doors to the public. This one has definitely been the hardest out of all of them. It has been the most difficult to, figure out, but at the same time, it's been the most pleasurable out of all of them to work on. Aside from any other show we've done before, this one is definitely its own. It's a standalone. We've never done anything like this before in this space.
There are performances on March 9th, 10th, 11th, 17th, and 18th inside the Black Box Theater at Chiawana. Tickets are $10 in advance at the ASB office or $12 at the door. Another group of Chiawana students were also busy this month teaching some youngsters about the benefits of agriculture to our community. Chiawana's FFA students hosted dozens of second graders from nearby Livingston Elementary for their annual Agricultural Literacy Day. The young students were divided into 4 groups and spent 30 minutes each at 4 different hands-on learning stations centered around agricultural robotics, floral design, agricultural science, and animal husbandry. Now that room was particularly popular because the youngsters got a chance to get up close and personal with pigs, rabbits, chickens, and puppies.
It's definitely fun to kind of transition from learning all these things, because all these kids, they're animal science kids. They've been in animal science this year, and most of them, a lot, have been in it before. And so they're now learning and turning around to teach these things to other kids. So it's awesome to see it, and it's awesome to see the response that the second graders are giving to the high schoolers, and just how they're reflecting off each other and just learning so much. And it's really awesome to see how much fun the second graders are having and also how much fun the high schoolers are having. For FFA, we try and hit a lot of different sections, and so this is one of our agricultural literacy and advocacy projects. There's a bunch of different sections we try and hit in our program of activities every year, and so that's the one this tries to hit, and it helps our community to learn about ag and just what we do. Not only for these little kids, but these kids go home and they talk to their parents. I got to pet this pig today. I've never seen a pig before. I learned about how there's robots that can now pick apples and all this kind of cool stuff going on in ag.
There are a lot of really cool things happening in ag right now, and it's great to see these high schoolers sharing their knowledge with the next generation. Well, speaking of cool things, hundreds of Pasco School District students, employees, and their families filled the student mall at Chiawana High School on February 23rd for the 2nd annual PSD Winter Carnival. Several Peak partners set up booths with giveaways and prizes for the families, and leadership students from Chiawana and Pasco High Schools and McLaughlin, Ochoa, and Stevens Middle Schools also hosted carnival games for the youngsters. There were food truck vendors set up outside the mall to serve up some tasty treats for the guests as well. The event also featured the unveiling of the new school-branded Visa debit cards from Gisa Credit Union. Gisa members can now show their Pasco pride with a Chiawana, New Horizons, or Pasco High branded debit card. The new program earns money for high school student activities in the Pasco School District each time that a card holder swipes their Gisa Visa debit card. Now you can get your Pasco school-branded Visa debit card printed instantly at any Gisa Credit Union branch in the Mid-Columbia. Well, there are several big events coming up here in the Pasco School District that we want to make sure that you know about. First, Pasco School District parents and caregivers of children of all abilities from birth through 5 years old are invited to attend the district's Early Learning Fair. This event was rescheduled for March 8th because of inclement weather back in January. It'll be held at Mark Twain Elementary from 4 to 7 p.m. and you'll be able to participate in fun activities with your child and learn how you can help prepare your child for school. There's no charge to attend. As we mentioned earlier, the Chiawana Stage Company is proud to present the Hobbit with evening performances on March 9th, 10th, 17th, and 18th, and a 1 p.m. matinee on Saturday, March 10th. Tickets are $10 in advance and $12 at the door. Now, this is a black box theater production, so seating for each show is limited. Elementary students and their parents are invited to the 5th Annual Kids Engineering Day at Curie STEM Elementary on Saturday, March 18th. The kids will experience some hands-on activities to help them explore basic principles of math, science, and engineering. It all starts at 10 a.m. and admission is free. The Pasco School District Board of Directors will host a community forum on March 23rd. The forum will be held at Livingston Elementary. It'll start at 6 p.m. Stop by and discuss your thoughts and concerns with our school board members at this informal conversational event. And if you can't make it to that forum, how about some soup with the Soup? Superintendent Michelle Whitney is hosting a series of lunchtime listening tour events this spring. The first is happening on Friday, March 24th at 11:30 a.m. at the Booth Administration Building. That's on Lewis Street. Just stop by, have some lunch, and share your thoughts and concerns with Superintendent Whitney. Well, as part of this monthly program, we want to hear from you about what makes you proud of Pasco. We'll be taking our cameras out into the community to hear Proud of Pasco stories. And we recently caught up with Angel Gonzalez, the Dean of Students at Ochoa Middle School. He grew up in Pasco, attending Emerson Elementary and Stevens Middle School before graduating from Pasco High. We asked him what makes him proud of Pasco.
Pasco is the collaboration that takes place between the many staffs and colleagues, not only here in our own building, but also within the Pasco School District campuses. As you know, we have over 20 schools, middle schools, elementary, high schools, and that serve over 17,000 students. And it's been said that it takes a village to raise a child, and I believe that's very true here at Ochoa. As Dean of Students, I have the privilege of collaborating with some amazing and dedicated teachers, counselors, paraeducators, admin, for the common goal of educating, different content areas, but also putting students first, making learning last a lifetime in our students. It's over 700 students here alone. Another example of collaboration that I'm proud of is not only within our own building, but also with different schools. I've reached out to high schools, and it's very common that you see middle schools reaching out to elementary schools, and all of us working together for a common goal, and that's our students.
If you have a great Proud of Pasco story that you want to share, shoot us an email at publicaffairs@psd1.org so that we can connect with you. Well, that wraps up this episode of PSD-TV. Thanks so much for joining us. We'll leave you with some of the sights and sounds from a special booth building visit by a group of singing Valentines from Longfellow Elementary. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.
Go. Will you be my Valentine, Valentine, Valentine? Will you be my Valentine, be a friend of mine?
Oh my goodness.
Okay, the second one, Farmer and Dale. Ready? 1, 2, ready, go. A Valentine for you, a Valentine for you, a Valentine, a Valentine, a Valentine for you.
You guys are awesome! Yay! All right, can I get a Valentine hug or high five from each of you before you go? All right, thank you. Oh, yes! Oh, that's the best Valentine hug ever! Oh my goodness, thank you. Oh my goodness. Thank you, thank you, thank you, you guys. You guys can come again and sing songs anytime you want.
And another one.
Oh,
Easter Day.